You want to know a funny little secret? So supposedly, in the time that you were dating me, you wanted to, you tried so hard. Uh, my personal favorite story about you trying so hard, I think, isn't the time when you went and got stoned when you were on your meds, or um, the time you sabotaged your therapy appointment. Way to show you loved me, babe. No, let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. You were complaining because you're like, I don't understand. I can't make a plan. I don't understand. I can't do it. It's impossible. So we talked about planning. We talked about making flowcharts. Flowcharts are a really easy way to do stuff. We talked about it. You made some. You did a great job making flowcharts. I mean, you filled in all the bubbles. You designed the things themselves. You made the consequences. You made the outcomes. You made the questions. Guess where the breakdown occurred? You just didn't do it. The longest journey is the one you never start. But that's not the part. So things didn't work. You're still doing stuff, and it was still stupid. I mean, if you'd like, I could break out my copy of the Notebook Project, put it on the blog. You want to say I'm a control freak and all that. Dude, seriously. I was talking to you about dumping you, and you were talking to me about moving on. I was like, have you been listening to me? I'm not really happy dating you. I got some problems. Oh, what are they? I can fix them. So I told you, so you wrote them down, so you were going to work on them. Ooh, that's the Notebook Project. Ooh, that was evil of me. God, look at the way I manipulated you. That was so brilliant. It was so abusive. It was like brainwashing 101. Give me a break. You want to know a secret? It's really funny. I don't think I ever told you this before. People hate people who read self-help books. They're annoying. Anyone who's trying to fix their life with a self-help book annoys the crap out of everyone around them. Here's why. They start using all the jargon in the book. They start talking about the steps. They start talking about the plans. They start talking about all the stuff. And the time that I knew you, all the books you supposedly read, you never used the vocabulary. You never talked about the plans. You talk about how hard you worked. I read every single self-help book you read because I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to be a part of it, so to speak. I wanted to know the language, the words. I wanted to know how I could help. I wanted to know what you were going to be doing. You know what I largely found out? It was amazing. You were like the best girlfriend in the whole wide world. Every single self-help book that you read told you to do exactly what you wanted to do to begin with. It was amazing. It's like a superpower. I would say words that came from the book. I would talk about vocabulary, things they say to do, exercises, whatever, and you'd be like, I must have missed that. You talk about how hard you tried. When you and I first started having trouble communicating, i.e. I realized you weren't honest about stuff when it was something that was going to bother you. By the way, if you hate this kind of discussion, if you hate me putting this kind of thing out there, stop talking to me, it'll go away. I suggested you listen to the confidence course. You didn't even have to read it. It's a 3-hour book. 3 hours. 3 hours. Took you 6 months to listen to it the first time. I was like pulling teeth. It's the first time you actually listened to it. You were done with it. You didn't do any of the exercises. You didn't do anything it talked about. You didn't even know what it was talking about. So you listened to it a second time. That took you a couple months more. I finally got around to it. Mostly what you did was you used it as a framework to tell me I was wrong about everything. Way to go. Anyone who's dated somebody who's working on steps, working on a project, doing some kind of self-help thing, they may want them to get better, but they also get annoyed with them. That's just how it is. They're annoying. They're always talking about their plan. They're always doing their steps. They're always doing their whatever. You didn't do that once. What a surprise. I wonder why. But back to my favorite story. You were going on and on about how you couldn't figure out to do a plan. It didn't make any sense. What didn't make sense about it? It doesn't make any sense. You just got to come up with a plan. You look at something that you do wrong, that's hurtful, that's bad, whatever. You find a way to make it so it's less likely that you'll keep doing it. A way to remind yourself that you need to stop. I can't do that. It's impossible. Like, alright, and then I suddenly remembered, hey, wait a second. Didn't you say that you were going to take like $2 or $5 or something? You had some sort of deal. It's like, you kept all the money in the vacation fund or something for me to come up there and see you again. You had money put aside, and when I was ready, you were going to buy me a ticket. I was going to come up there, or rent a car, or whatever. And every time you did something that was in the notebook, the first time you did it, you were going to take $5 out, and the next time you did it, you were going to take another $5 out, and then it was going to be $10 out, and you were going to leave it in the refrigerator for like a week or something. And then if you didn't do it again, then you put the money back. And if you did it again, you'd leave it in there for a week. That way, even when I got the time off, if I was ready to come up and see you, if you didn't have all the money back in the freezer, then we weren't going to do it, something like that. That was your plan. You came up with it. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was kind of a dumb plan, but hey, I was any port in the storm. And then you were like so proud of yourself for coming up with the plan that you just never did it. Or maybe you did it a couple times, whatever. But a month went by, and that was just it. And like, okay. And I remembered that, and I mentioned it to you. And I'm like, okay, so you got consequences, you got actions, you got follow-through, whatever the hell the book was talking about. And you were like, yeah, I got all that stuff. Okay, well, it seems like you can make a plan. You immediately went into attack mode. All you ever do is talk about what I do wrong. I was like, whoa, good one. Am I convincing you of stuff right now? No, I'm not convincing you of stuff. I'm just, the personal way I work goes like this. I think people when things are uncomfortable, when things are bad, when they're embarrassed, people want to get away from it. They want to make excuses, they want to lie, they want to do whatever. And it happens. If the stakes are high enough, you do it more. When you lie for 3 hours about a soda, that's more about you than about the high stakes. So, yeah, when you can't admit that I said, hey, do you want a soda? And you said, no, I don't want a soda. And then you wanted the soda anyway, and I said, no, I asked if you wanted one. And at that point, the only thing standing between you and the soda was me knowing that you said no, and so then you just wouldn't. No, I didn't. You lied. Boom. Wait, I heard you say it. I didn't. And that went on for like a couple hours almost. Seriously. When you lie that hard about a 60-cent soda, it says something about you. It says something about me too, don't get me wrong. I'm totally stubborn. But I could be stubborn or I could be a total pussy and drink the Kool-Aid, but that doesn't really affect who you are. That's the thing. I cannot believe you told me all the crap you did about Bob, about his kid, about the knife, about his grandparents, about all that stuff. I think that is incredibly retarded. I also think it's incredibly funny that he got pissed at you for telling all the family stuff to George because you needed somebody to vent to. And now George is your good friend. So, hope he gets used to talking to George, because you're going to be talking to him about him. But here's the thing. Bob's never been anything but a dick to me. And you went and told me all those personal details about him because you were pissed at him or whatever. You were talking about how he cried when you wouldn't let him hang up his spaceship. And you were laughing when you did it because it was ridiculous. How's a hurtful, mean thing to do? I'm not saying that Bob deserves it or doesn't deserve it. I'm saying it's a mean and hurtful thing to do, and it's ridiculous. Because you know I don't like him. So why would you do that? I guess it's who you are. Whatever. So yeah, I would much prefer you just not blog on my blog. That you don't send me contacts, you don't email me. Dude, I have done everything but give the neighborhood kid a pellet gun and tell him to shoot down homing pigeons. I love that. So that you don't get to communicate with me. I got a freaking superpowered fan on my roof in case you start sending smoke signals. Not really. I don't need to convince you you're crazy. You've done a lot of crazy stuff in the past. I personally think, look, let's do the math. You've been hospitalized for mental problems. You take medication. You've done some crazy stuff. Elmer hasn't done any of that stuff. You lie when you want to protect yourself. I don't know that Elmer does. Ergo, I think you sent him the topless photo. Because you were crazy with my grandmother, because you were crazy with a bunch of other things, because you reacted so wildly, erratically, whatever, obsessively, whatever. It's not unheard of that you would do something wacky. Yep, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Either you did it or you didn't. Doesn't really matter. You put up a big fuss about it, whatever. Doesn't matter all that much. However, it's not horrible and rude and tea is so bad to me and you're making fun of me, whatever. I actually enjoy the fact that I have not insulted you a tenth what you have insulted me. And unlike you, you've got everything I'm doing coming to you. You say, oh, George is my good friend, he's wonderful, and he's much better to me than you ever were. You know I've got all those letters that you wrote about George sexually harassing you at work. Why would you tempt me like that? You know, I love the detective story deal. I love that whole thing. I'm not convincing people that you're crazy. I'm just showing them that you're not truthful. I'm not slanting the story. It's much more fun to let you do it. It's much... If you would stop talking to me, I wouldn't have anything else to do. That's the thing. You keep writing posts about comments about my blog. Okay. Good luck with that. Alright. So, there you go.